Okay, here is the second load order. We're moving into the second part of the video. And I know this is probably boring as heck. I don't think I could listen to myself talk. Sometimes I do, just like as a white noise, so I can actually think when I'm doing something, so my brain is not kind of bombarded with trying to solve too many problems at once. Okay, so let's take a look at this particular load order here. Let's bring it up, got it up. Now, I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is, since here I started getting errors. I got 35 total crashes, and the stability dropped down. But you're talking 270 times I played, but that's still a lot. So I'm like, okay, I made a lot of changes. I had virtual machines, so I'm assuming virtual machines are linked to modifying scripts that are currently on the stack frame, are currently on the frame is currently on the stack, or it's currently being executed on the stack, which is not a good idea. Therefore, I'll just start a new game. So let me Z this out, and we're gonna move up to here. Okay. And so you can see I started out, everything's cool, about 4 hours in, but no such luck. But notice it's when the ghoul started to hit me. So there was something weird happening where a ghoul would do one of those flying leaps, and I mean it's one of those bully smacks. I don't even know how to describe it because I don't know why a ghoul would like want to smack somebody anyways. Um, it looks like some kind of like flying human ping pong without the ball. So I have no idea. But like a tennis player or something. I don't know. But anyways, so he didn't really hit me, and there was no sound. He froze about 2 foot from my face, and then the thing crashed. This is the same. Now I'm in the same area, right? So I reload. So 4 minutes into the game, I got a crash. So this was the last time. So I started the game back up. 4 minutes in, I got a crash. I'm in the same area. I loaded back up. I get a crash 3 minutes later. Okay, so because this is just a comment I added to this session, this record, and each record can have its own comment. So it was when I shot one of the ghouls. It wasn't the same ghoul. Might have been the same ghoul. And it wasn't a single shot. I was just rapidly firing off shots, and all of a sudden, same thing happened. It freezes and it crashes. So I got a problem somewhere. This is a common problem. So I keep thinking, well, maybe it's random, don't know what's going on, so I need more data. So I'm gonna play. There's more ghouls here. I'm trucking along. I think I made it like an hour. So I made it 3 hours and about 37 minutes because this is the total sum before crash. So I made about 3 hours crash. Now this is when it was starting the game. Now I had this once before, and it was the same thing. Just so you can see what this is, it always is the same thing. It's always player comments, hello. And if you notice, player comments, hello. Don't know what this means or what this does. Player comments, hello. And there's your form. See, it's a ton of these. In fact, if I do a search, you'll see that it's quite a bit. There were actually 11 instances. See down here, 11 instances. So there is nothing but at a certain point. Now this is every time there's a crash before I get to the loading screen, before I get to where it shows like the little countdown, little TV screen countdown. It'll crash between the game starting, Reshade doing its thing, possibly Robco or something else is running through an F4SE plugin, and then you get your loading screen. I call it loading screen, but it's where it shows like the TV countdown. The beep 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 thing counts down, and that. Um, so, and that's where it always crashed. So I had a bunch of those previously, and what I did was I couldn't go to a 38 or a lower resolution, ultra wide, like a 32 by 9 lower resolution. I had to use the full screen, so I had to use a window. It was a borderless window mode in order to get the thing to run. No clue why. I never had this before with Reshade, so I don't know if something changed in Reshade. The INI files don't really change other than the resolution. So I have no idea what would have caused that. I'm assuming it's a change in Reshade, or I added Robco, or something is trying to do something when Reshade is compiling and they're not waiting until it's not doing it sequentially. It's not saying, okay, reshade is done, let's move on to something else. Because used to, I could actually see in the upper left hand corner where it would compile the shaders. I don't see that anymore. I don't see an update to that screen. So something changed somewhere. Here I got, again, invalid reference. So crash starting game, invalid reference. Now we're back to virtual machine. Now this is where I started picking up loose files again. I haven't seen these in ages. So they're popping back up. Loose file stream, access violation, seeing all this kind of stuff. So we'll take a real quick peek and see what this is before we move on to something else. Anonymous, it's loose file stream. Okay, so we're back to this situation. So I'm like, okay, now this one's back. Now you would think that each individual crash is related to a separate problem, and that may or may not be true. It could be one problem is manifesting itself in many different ways. So this is me saying, okay, this is a test. So what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to start a new game. And I can show you that, unfortunately, I do add mid things mid-game, which is not really a good thing to do. But you can see where I added Nuka World Reborn. This is the PRP thing. I think Cough got updated. Working plan. This all happened. This all happened mid. So I updated a whole lot of stuff. Now some of these, if it's an add-on, sometimes I will add them, but like over here, like this one, I will not activate them. They are installed, but if you find the mod, right, and you go over here and you check for installs, you'll actually see that it is installed. See, these are the files that are installed, but it is not active in the load order. So they're just, I'm preparing for the next game session. So sometimes you'll see these. Sometimes you can count on them being there, sometimes you can't. So you can see a bunch of this crap and go, oh my god, you added so much stuff. I'm surprised your computer even turns on, but it may or may not be that. Okay, so again, we're back to crash when starting a game. Now I had this previously. Now I did update reshade more than once, but I did add some DLLs. And then I got to where I'm getting this invalid reference. All right, let's see what I tried to do here. Okay, so here I'm like, here I noticed that I think I changed there was two different previs repair patches for different mods. One of them was for 65X, the other was for 69X. I'm using the unstable 71, I think, or something, 70 something. So if you even though you install a PRP patch, so let's say you're using like SS2, and you install PRP and then an SS2 PRP patch. If the SS2 PRP patch is for a different PRP version, previs repair pack version, you're still going to look like it doesn't work, because you're still going to have, it's going to invalidate the previs and the pre-combine loading, and because it's going to be different file versions. So you have to make sure they're the same ones. Alright, so virtual machine, we're still back to this garbage. Again, loose file stream, no idea, like, oh man, this stuff came back. Again, I got one of these null references. Let's see what this is. And again, player comments. So this happened on load. So again, anytime you see this, it's when the game starts. Reshade is doing its thing, and right before I get the little TV screen to show that countdown, it'll crash. I don't even get that far. I get between reshade doing its thing and that TV in that little dark screen area, it'll crash. So there's something crossing boundaries. See, we've got virtual machine. Something here is crossing boundaries. So something's causing a desync. Okay, so you take a look, same thing. And this is me going back in. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, what I did is I ran. I have a, like, okay, so I have a there's a function built in to this application where I can go in and I can do like this, like I can check and install. Like you see this particular like Maticus Island, I can do a check install and it will actually verify that the files installed belong to this particular mod, this particular one right here. Let's take that out. Let's do that. But if you don't provide it a mod, if you don't give it a mod name, it checks everything. It'll literally go through and check everything. It'll check all of these. And when I did that, I noticed that there were two mods that were missing files. That one of them was blood textures, but another one was sound files from I think it was that impact one. I don't think it was impact. It was, I can't think of the name of it, but it was missing sound files, and it was combat sound files. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm missing sound files. I got crashes when the ghouls, I would attack ghouls or the ghouls would attack me. So these sound files are chosen at random. It's like I'm going to give you. It's Bethesda's way of trying to give this idea of, oh God, I don't even know the term. Not playability, but something that doesn't get old, redundant quick. So it's like every time I shoot my gun, it's going to make a different hit sound or a different splatter sound. Otherwise, it's like it all looks the same and it's predictable and, you know. So I went back in, I actually did it across all mods, and then I scanned through this gigantic list to see what I was missing. I added those mods back in, and that seemed to fix that problem. But, and as you notice here, I'm getting this DXGI DLL. Now this, you say, oh, okay, that is a direct X. No, that is actually a reshade. So reshade is giving me the problem. There's something reshade doesn't like. Now, I don't know if it's because reshade itself doesn't like it. The graphic driver, the AMD driver, doesn't like what reshade is doing, which is a possibility. Where they changed something, because I did update my graphic drivers, and they could have changed something that reshade doesn't take into consideration, or multiple things are going on at one time when they need to be going. They're executing in parallel when they need to execute sequentially. All right, so I'm like, okay, this thing is totally foobarred. So I tried. I thought I want to take out some different things. I have no idea how this happened, but it took out a chunk. But one of the things I did notice, I was in Red Rocket. When I was up here in Red Rocket with Loose File Stream, I was actually trying to talk to somebody, and it was crashing consistently. You can literally see. I played for 6 minutes, a crash, reloaded, played for 1 minute, literally 2 minutes, crash, loaded again, got to play for about 2 hours, 7 minutes, it was a crash. So these are 3 repeatable crashes. So I'm like, okay, hang on a second. What's the issue here? So I thought the only thing it could be, I thought, well, you know what? I added this to your face, so I'm going to take this out. And I don't know if we can look up here. Let's see if I can even find to your face. Face gen is not what I'm looking for. Here, I added it here. So I added it even before. So this might have been, this is a carryover from this previous load order here. So this could have been an issue and I never even realized it. So I thought, I'm going to take this out. I'm just going to disable it. You know, you just go in, enable, disable. And, right. So I disabled it. And I'm going to start a new game. So we're going to move over to a new video here, and I'm going to work on my current load order. And then I'm going to have to break this into another video, because trust me, I know this is boring as all heck, but this is just a long process to try to disperse a lot of things, a lot of information that really will not help solve the problem, and only focus on the pieces of information that will. And that's really what I'm concerned with. Because it's no fun to have a game you can't play. You know, it's easy to say, well, don't mod it, but that's the whole reason a lot of people buy the game, is because you can mod it. A lot of modders want to be game designers, so that's kind of a launching ground. They really can be competitive to see who gets the most votes, who has the greatest mod, because, you know, they want to be the person who's recognized, and all that kind of stuff. You have all those different factors coming into play. And sometimes it makes it difficult for the average person to say, can you help me? So we're going to try to filter all that out and only focus on just the most important parts. I'm going to cut this one short, and we're going to move to the current load order, which I'm using, which will be this one. All right, so give me a second, and I'll be right back.